Alright guys, in this video we're going to talk about survival mode. So let's go. At 22, I was raising a family with two young kids, just a year apart. And one of them had open heart surgery at 3 months old. 3 months old. Now, I want you to sit with that for a second. Picture it. You're barely out of your teens, trying to figure out how to be an adult, and life hands you two beautiful daughters, with one needing round-the-clock care. Wires, machines, hospital visits become part of your normal routine. Have you ever had a moment where everything just hit you at once, but you had no choice but to keep moving? For me, that was every day. The pressure of being the head of a household at 22, it wasn't just heavy, it was relentless. Operating in survival mode became the norm. I didn't know anything else. It was buckle down, be responsible, you're an adult now. You don't have time to process. You don't have the luxury to break down. You just react. The crying baby, the unpaid bills, the tired partner, the long nights, the early mornings, on repeat. You start to believe this is just what life is now. Not because you like it, but because you can't remember what peace ever felt like. And maybe you know that feeling too. Maybe you've been there. Or maybe you still are. Stuck at a job that barely pays you, telling yourself, hey, it pays the bills. Numbing yourself with entertainment instead of engaging with life. Simply running on autopilot, functioning, smiling on the outside while screaming into that pillow at night, wondering if anyone notices, if anyone even sees you. Yeah, I see you because I was you. In survival mode, it'll trick you into thinking you're being strong. But it's not strength when your body is shutting down and your soul's on silent mode. That's not strength. That's survival. And there's a big difference. You know, in Walmart, they've got this floor scrubbing machine named Emma. Emma rolls in, loops through the aisles over and over with one job: clean the floors. That's how that machine survives. That's how it gets by. No thought, no deviation, just loop. You were not built to live like Emma. You were not made to be stuck in a loop. You deserve more than just getting by, more than just making it. But let me ask you something. When was the last time you weren't just surviving? When was the last time you felt safe enough to breathe, to dream, to trust that everything wouldn't collapse if you took your hands off the wheel for 1 minute? If you don't know, you're not broken. You're just in survival mode. And I want to talk to you about how we get out. Not all at once, but one piece at a time. The first thing I learned about living in constant survival mode: the external world controls you when you're in survival mode. Your mood, your movement, even your value, or at least what you think it is. You don't even realize it's happening at first. You just wake up and the day starts pulling at you, and you react and react and react. You see, when I was sleep deprived, running on fumes from round-the-clock care for my daughter needs, I noticed something. The smallest thing from the outside world could just set me off. It didn't matter how minor it was. If it was wrong, it became the last straw. Like stopping at Starbucks and blaming the barista for your entire life because she forgot to swirl the caramel throughout the cup of your caramel macchiato, right? Yeah. It wasn't just about the caramel or caramel, however you like to say it. It was about the fact that nothing felt in my control. Not my schedule, not my energy, not my emotions. And so the caramel became the enemy. Because in survival mode, your nervous system is already fried. And anything that pokes it feels like a full on threat. But here's the wild part. It's not even about the barista or the bill collector or the traffic or your partner forgetting to text you back. It's about the fact that you're in the world is being held hostage by the chaos around you. You've been in response mode for so long. You forgot what it feels like to lead your day instead of being dragged by it. And I say this with love. Survival mode doesn't just steal your peace. It robs you of your power. Because when everything's a fire to put out, you never get to become the person who builds. But here's what I didn't know back then. Questions create care. That's where real self-care begins. Not lotions, not spa days, not checking out, but checking in. Because survival mode silences your inner voice. It convinces you your needs are an inconvenience. That your only value is what you can do, not what you feel. So you stop asking. You stop asking things like, how am I doing? Really? What do I need right now? What hurts? What am I avoiding? If I wasn't just surviving, what would I choose? And when you stop asking, you stop caring. Not because you don't want to, but because you've trained yourself to keep moving no matter the cost. But questions, yes, questions crack the shell. They slow you down just enough to remember, oh, you exist. And when you start to care enough to ask, you start to create space. Space to breathe, space to feel, space to reconnect. You pump life back into the inner you with questions. Questions pull you out of the survival coma and remove all the breathing tubes. Anytime your spidey senses start to tingle, ask questions. That's where healing begins. Not with a plan, not with a goal, but with a question. Because questions create care, and care is what creates change. People say, old saying, keep going no matter what. Sounds noble, right? Like that's the key to success, to survival. Like if you just keep pushing, eventually things will fall into place. But be honest, what has keep going no matter what really gotten you? A body running on fumes? A mind that never stops racing? A smile that feels more like a performance than a feeling? You wake up tired, you go to bed tired, and in between, it's just noise. Tasks, deadlines, obligations, maybe a few scrolls on your phone so you don't have to feel everything all at once. You show up for everyone, you handle it, you carry the weight. But somewhere along the way, you stop showing up for yourself. Because no one teaches you how to pause. They only praise you for pushing through. You could be breaking on the inside and people will say, oh, you're so strong. And maybe you are. But strength without care turns into burnout. See, keep going no matter what works for machines. That's Emma. But you're not a machine. You're a person with emotions, limits, and needs. A person who was never meant to live in a loop of constant reaction. And let's be real. Sometimes keep going isn't discipline. It's fear. Fear of what might rise to the surface if you actually ever slow down. But slowing down isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Because the truth is, you don't get points for suffering in silence. And you don't get peace by pretending you don't need any. So the next time you catch yourself in survival mode, remember to ask yourself questions. Not surface questions, soul questions. Questions like, why does this affect me? What does this mean for my inner self? How do I stop reacting and start responding? Because what we know now is questions create care, and care creates change. And hey, if you're in the mood for a movie that captures this whole chaotic, emotional, identity unraveling journey, watch Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Trust me, that movie gets it. Till next time, keep asking, keep caring, keep coming back to you. See ya.